Hey guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Saturday, the 7th of September 2019. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Let's have a look at what the day's energy is about and what you'll be working with. These readings are for all signs of the zodiac and they're for everyone who watches. And today I'm being told to do a 10-card spread. I'm going to try and fit it into the screen as best I can. Okay, so the first card that we have, this is at the center of the reading. This is a basic Celtic cross, but I've just squished these two cards up so you can see them. We have at the center of reading the Two of Pentacles. You may be feeling at the moment like things aren't going your way, like life isn't working. The things that I usually do, I don't have the energy for them. I feel like I've lost the passion for something that I did have the passion for. I feel like I'm just going through the motions, and yes, there are ups and downs, but I've really lost the excitement and the desire and the enthusiasm for what I'm doing. And the card crossing that is the Eight of Swords. So I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm displeased in the situation that I'm in. It can be a working situation, it can be a living situation, or it can be a physical health situation that you're not happy with. The Pentacles, remember, are earth, and they relate to anything work related, money related, body related, or your physical journey related. So you're not happy with what you're juggling at the moment and what your daily routine is like. And the problem is that you feel stuck. You don't know how to get out of it. You don't know how to make a decision around that. You're just like, okay, well, this is the way it is. What can I do? And the root cause of this is that you've lost your power, or you've given your power away, and you're not making decisions for yourself. In the past, you saw things properly, but something has changed in terms of your perspective. So if it's a job that you've fallen out of love with, then you used to see the value in it, but now suddenly you feel like, oh, I don't think this has value anymore, and I just don't feel like doing this anymore. What you're thinking about is taking action and freeing yourself. Saying, okay, enough of this. I'm going to cut these ribbons off me, and I'm going to take this blindfold off, and I'm going to see what I care about. Because I'm still a human being. I still have passions and desires. And I want to move forward. I want to take action. Now, the future, so this day, is going to make you very, very unhappy if you take some sort of fearful path just because you don't want to take the... So basically, if you run away from your everyday life, that is the cross. If you decide it's too, I can't face it anymore, I'm not doing it. If you run away from it, the external world obviously wants you to stick with it, and you have certain responsibilities. If you don't face your responsibilities, it will mean that your job security will become less stable, and you're going to have to rely more on yourself, and you're going to have to rely more on the universe taking care of you here on planet Earth. So most of us here in the Western world don't do that. Most of us see money as our security. If I have money in the bank account, then I can pay my bills, my mortgage, and then I can stay in this flat, and then I'm fine. Most of us don't think, oh, I've got no job, no money, no nothing. I'm just going to pray that everything's going to be all right and God is going to take care of me. Some people are there, and it's true, so God will take care of you. If you have faith, or if you put all your trust in the higher power, you will always be taken care of. But most of us don't have the ability to trust that much or to live on those terms. And those terms being putting our spiritual self completely at the center of our being. Most of us aren't monks and nuns. We want to have things go wrong sometimes. I think sometimes we deliberately sabotage ourselves and we enjoy experimenting. But this reading altogether is saying that today's a very particular energy. You're just not feeling things, yet you feel stuck, disempowered to take any action. And that in itself makes you unhappy as well. This feeling that I can't take any action here in my life. I feel frustrated. Why can't I change something? Why can't I make a move? Why is this so complicated, for goodness sake? And that scares you, which means that you're not going to run away and you're not going to buckle down. You're just in this state of paralysis. Like, what am I going to do? It's like a reprieve. You've been taken out of the day. It's like you've been called to the headmaster's office and you're waiting to see the headmaster, and you're missing maths and economics and German. And the only one you can rely on is yourself. What you're going to do. The institution may say bye-bye. The employer may say, okay, fine, you've had a sick day, no big deal. Stay at home and we'll see you tomorrow. Ultimately, if you don't want to end up by yourself, then I wouldn't let my dislike for what I'm doing show. Because one, you're going to be unhappy because you're not taking the actions you want to take. But two, there's the potential for you to suffer some sort of loss in terms of your physical, financial life. Like, for instance, you may have a disagreement with your boss and your boss may say bye-bye. Or you may say, oh, I'm so sick of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And your supervisor overhears you. And you're like, well, let's save you the trouble then, and let's show you the door. Yeah, it could also, again, Pentacles is anything that we have to handle. It may be that you have to move, and that's super stressful. It may be that you're starting a new job today, and it just makes you incredibly nervous. It may be that you or starting a new field of study and you have no idea about it. Maybe you get your statement from the bank and something is very off because you're suddenly in the red and you had planned very clearly not to be in the red. So something's going on. So that's the cross part of this reading. So something's a stirring, okay, in terms of you being sick of something and you being unhappy and taking action. Make sure that your actions don't alienate anyone. If you want to keep your position and if you want to keep things exactly as they are, bite your tongue, swallow your discontent, and don't say, oh my God, what a crappy job I'm in. Or like people go on Twitter and they say, oh, I'm going into my shitty job now at Walmart. I mean, and then of course Walmart is going to read that and they're going to say, well, if you don't like us, then we're not going to hire you anymore. So just be careful with that kind of thing. The outcome is that, yeah, you may have to then tread a path which you hadn't intended on treading. You don't know whether to move forward or to move backward, and you have to really start from scratch. So I really don't think it's a day to make major decisions and to create major upheaval in your life and to question and to show your discontent for what you're doing. Yeah, because the job hasn't changed. It's just your perspective of it has changed. And why 6 months ago you thought your job had some value and you're adding something good, just because your perspective has changed and you don't feel like it adds any value anymore, who's right? Your 6 months ago version or the version of you now? Maybe you've learned that the business, the charity, that the funds get, funneled elsewhere, and 5% of the actual donations reach the people who the money was meant for. That then is a potential reason for, the bubble to pop and the magic to be taken away from your job, where you thought you were working for a genuine charity, and then it turns out they're just a bunch of hustlers. That will certainly make you see your job differently. So look around today, look at what's happening. If you just feel like, "Oh, I'm just having a bad day, it's no big deal, I just don't feel great, I'm just not feeling it at 100%, then that's fine as well. It's just not it's not the best day to go around flapping your mouth loudly and to anyone about how dissatisfied you are, because other people are going to either retaliate or they're going to misunderstand that, and they're not going to be able to sympathize, or they won't want to sympathize because they have a personal stake in you and what you're doing. Like, so for instance, if you're saying, I don't care about this situation anymore, I'm going to walk out, and you tell your father this before you actually do it, your father is going to say, "Excuse me, you have 2 children and a wife, and you're not just going to no son of mine is just going to walk out on their wife and children, and you're not going to do that. I don't sympathize at all." So if you're expecting people to kind of support you in what you're doing, then you're not going to get that sympathy. I mean, if you're sick of something in your life, then rather than throwing just throwing everything up in the air, the best thing is to take it, to ask yourself, what would an adult do in this situation? I don't want to handle this anymore. It feels dark, What would an adult do? An adult would say, "Okay, I recognize that I'm not happy. I'm going to start learning something else so I can transition into a different job." Rather than going from a job to no job, I'm going to find a middle ground and try and tolerate this existing job or these existing circumstances while they are in my life. And I'm going to find a middle path that allows me to go in a different direction, and that, makes me happy again, and that doesn't influence or affect my loved ones or my environment or my responsibilities in any negative way. So today is a day for learning. Today is a day to become willing to adopt new information and to learn new things. It's not the best day to say, "Okay, this is my judgment. This is a fail. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm changing things up majorly." Not the best day to do that, okay? Look and see what you can learn rather than throwing everything up in the air and putting yourself in a difficult position. I'm just going to pull one card in the sense of what the numbers are for today, number-wise, numerology. 4. It's about stability, okay? So if you talk a lot, or if you make the decision to leave a job or to move house or to enroll in a certain course, then that is going to have an effect on your circumstances. Make sure they're positive ones. Learning, anything that involves learning is good, and new information coming in is good and is going to add to your security and structure. Anything that involves you expressing really negative feelings or writing down an expose about all the people you dislike, if you go ahead with those, they're going to cause a lot of insecurity in your life and a lot of unrest and a loss of peace of mind. The best way forward is always to kind of go from one thing to another slowly and gradually into transition. Sometimes it's just not possible. Sometimes you have to quit a job and just walk out. I know that, sometimes we can't do things in an ideal way, but sometimes that's necessary too, to put ourselves in that fear mode where it's like, oh my God, I've got absolutely no job. Because, yeah, if something becomes intolerable, then it's your life. I remember one boss saying to me, I want you to go on the phones for an hour, Greg. I know it's soul destroying, but please do it. I was like, it's soul destroying, and you want me to do something that is soul destroying. So great. Wow. I really now know that you have my best interests at heart. I didn't stay in that job for very much longer, because I honored myself and I was like, I deserve better than this. Now, have a wonderful day. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. I use astrology, tarot, and numerology in my personal readings. For your astrology charts that I draw up, I need your place of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. Date, time, place. If you don't have the time of birth, then there's a process called chart rectification where I work out your time of birth. You can order that on the website. Once I have those 3 pieces of information, I draw up your birth chart. It shows me everything about you, what your vocational aptitudes are, what your life purpose is, where you're meant to get your money from, what's happening in your love life, where the best place is for you to live, and when the best place is to move. I use the astrocartography for that, which looks at the whole thing from a different perspective. So if you have any questions at all, I can answer those as well. So to have a personal reading, go to gregoryscott.com and order your reading. If you like the video, please hit subscribe and share it. Have a fabulous day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.